Welcome to day 13. So, today we're going to talk about the limiting belief that other people are better than me or that it's already been done. And this may not necessarily be a belief as much as a block, because that inherently just immediately just shuts off any flow of creativity in the direction as something that you originally felt inspired to do, because you think it's already been done, because someone else is better than you. It already exists out in the world. So what's the point? What's the point? Why should I do it? First of all, the point is it's something within you that wants to be expressed. That's truly it. And something we'll talk about later at the very end is we'll talk about, being able to let go of the creations, okay? Ultimately, your creations aren't about you. But ultimately, your creations are you. I don't know if that made sense. You just being a being in this world, you have a unique signature. You have a unique and individual frequency that you share and that you emit. Because you are you, you are radically unique. Just as we have, imprints on our fingertips. These no one else has. It's completely unique to you. No one can be you. And truly, who you are is enough. What you want to create is so divine and perfect. It is the process. It is the journey of the creation that wants to be moved through you. That's the point. It's the journey. The journey is the point. Tapping into our Creator is the point. Sometimes things are so much bigger than us than we can even possibly fathom. Sometimes something that's stirring within us that wants to be expressed, that wants to live and breathe and be birthed out into the physical, is not about us. Maybe you're receiving something that might radically change someone else's life. But if you are getting in the way of thinking that someone else that already did it, it already exists, therefore I shouldn't do it, what's the point? You're blocking that potential of that ripple in the world. So this is truly about turning on the blinders to anyone else's process. Sometimes whatever medium that you are working in can be oversaturated. That's a belief. Sorry, that's not true. It looks like it may be oversaturated, that so many other people do it. I just want to affirm that because of your uniqueness, that because no one can create like you, speak like you, think like you, have a story that is so uniquely yours, that it doesn't matter. It does matter. And you are going to resonate with specific people that resonate with you. And when you turn on and tap in to what is truly meant to create and be birthed through you, and you stay in that aligned frequency, those that are ready and willing will feel it and be magnetized to you. I want you to know that when I gaze upon others' artwork, I do not compare myself. I don't see or compare my work with others. Instead, I have a lens where I get to look into this window of someone else's soul, and I get to see who they are and what moved through them. And that is, I think, one of the most beautiful things about sharing your expression. I get to see and I get to feel the beauty in all styles of art and music and creations that are authentic to that person. We all have different, backgrounds and stories and experiences and cultures and languages and lands that we grew up in. And they are all just so uniquely beautiful because you get to create from those experiences. And one of my favorite things is I love getting to see people try something new for the first time, or even be willing to share for the first time. There was a friend that I had last year in my coaching container. We did a Secret Santa, and she sent me a painting that she created. And she wrote me a letter, and she said that she was so scared to send it to me, and that she sent me a piece of her artwork that she doesn't share with people. And for me, it was my all-time favorite gift because I knew how vulnerable that was, and I was truly in awe with her work. When I first shared my artwork with the world, like physically, because once in a while, I think it was in 2020, I had, maybe it was 2021, I started an Instagram for my art. I just took a picture and put it on there. I didn't put any words with it, nothing else. That was one thing, okay? Not very many people saw it. It was behind a screen. I didn't have to explain it. I didn't have my face with it. Then slowly I started to kind of put more words with it. But the scariest thing for me was when I shared it with the world. And the story of that, I went to a park, and there was a little dance thing that evening happening, and I really wanted to share my art. I was inspired by some friends that would just do this pop-up where they would just show up at this park and they would throw out their artwork and have beautiful connections and sometimes even sell pieces. And so I loaded up my car, I put my physical artworks in there, and oh boy, was it scary. Because when I got to the park, my son was 3 years old at that time, and he started to help me unload the car. And what I was feeling was complete nausea, complete nervousness. I really thought I was gonna throw up. Because the idea of someone seeing my inner world and the fear of potentially being rejected or told that somehow it wasn't going to be good enough was so heavy. But at that same time, my 3-year-old was helping me unload the car. And he loved my work so much. And in that moment, I could not say no. Because what would I have taught my child in that moment? Not to believe in my creations? What he did, and it was really embarrassing at the time, but I'm so grateful for it, he would take all the pieces that he could hold, and he just started to pass them out to people in the park, which forced me to have conversations with people, which forced me to start sharing and talking about my art. And it scared the living shit out of me. It was terrifying. And I know that even though today we're talking about other people are better than me, it's already been done. But, tomorrow we talk about the fear of being unseen. And yesterday we talked about the perfectionist wound. And yeah, this fear of being rejected. All these things are there. It was heavy. But I'm so grateful I did. And that day I also sold my very first painting, and I moved through it, and I was able to just begin to share more openly. That is one of the biggest things that freed me. So where I'm at today is I've learned so many technical skills around my craft. And I think one of the biggest things that I've had to personally overcome was that there are always going to be people better than me. And that's just fact, right? Like, someone will always be quote unquote better than you. And that's okay. Maybe they have just practiced longer. Maybe they've been at their craft more. But at the same time, you don't get to see the behind the scenes of their process and what it took for them to get there. You're just seeing them at mile 100 when you're back here, and you're comparing yourself, and that is not fair to yourself. That's not fair to yourself. That's not kind. So for me personally, in my own craft, I acknowledge that there are still some technical skills, because I had a big wound that I didn't go to art school. And I thought that I missed out, that I can't be an artist. I'm laughing now. Because I didn't go to art school. I'm not qualified. That should be a whole other class. You don't need to be qualified for your medium. If you have something in you, then yes, maybe. And what I'm trying to say here is, yes, there might be some continued education or technical skills, or you get to a room for advancement, room for improvement, room for growth, right? And that's what's so beautiful, is there's always room for growth. For me, I know that I get to continue to hone in on my craft, and that I can work on my technical skills, and that like I have a personal goal and an inspired goal of like, I want to be the next Autumn Skye. And if you don't know who that is, I definitely recommend looking her up. I might even maybe tag her website or her Instagram on here, because her work is so stunning. And so she's a spiritual artist, and I'm just in awe of her work. So she does a lot of like Oracle deck art for people, and I have a couple of her decks, and so that's one of my inspirations. And so next week we'll talk more about inspiration, and also writing that line between inspiration versus comparison. Because one of the worst things that we could do for our creations is go into that comparison mode of your creation somehow not being good enough because someone else's is better. At the end of the day, someone will always, quote unquote, be better. And I'll end with one more story here. I remember that years ago, like a decade ago, I had roommates, and I had this roommate. He had this girlfriend that was an artist, and honestly, this person just sucked. She was my roommate was already very anxious, but it was rough. So she was an established artist. She went to art school, did the whole gamut. And when I had told her, it's like, oh, I'm an artist too, she quite literally to my face told me that I was not an artist. And it was because her definition of an artist was that because I wasn't professional, that I wasn't making money from it. And that is the lowest, biggest piece of crap that I've ever heard. It definitely affected me for a long time. And it definitely made me feel like I'm not an artist. But that I just don't abide by that at all. And honestly, I don't know her. I'm not trying to psychoanalyze her. But that belief must come from some deep-ass insecurities. Because that is not true. I truly believe that everyone is inherently an artist in whatever medium that they are. And it is through your unfiltered, uncensored, just free expression that like you get to create into this world. You have that birthright. And I am not about this culture of that, of putting down others, of thinking you're above others. That is a big old F no for me. I truly want to see and honor and foster the others that want to find their own modality, and for the artists that are just getting their footing and believing in themselves. I mean, like, the last thing we need is more people being critical of others. We're already so critical of ourselves. So I'm super curious how this has been landing for you. The beliefs yesterday, the beliefs today. Again, anything that's coming up, feel free to share in the community space. Take time to journal. If you need any additional support, I'm here. Also, I mean, this was in the VIP option. And you're always welcome to upgrade. If you do want to do a hypnotherapy session or have a one-on-one drop-in hour to an hour and a half session with me to do some exploration, let's do it. I am here for you. I am hoping that this is all landing and resonating and helping you to feel seen, that you have something so gorgeous within you, and that you are safe and free, and all you have to do is give yourself permission to release it, to feel it, to express it. I'm here for it all. All right, I'll see you tomorrow.